Hello, welcome back to Bridging the Gap. We're here with my friend Dave Conley, and this is our new segment here that we call In My Opinion. During this segment, we'll be talking about different views, different things, and chances are we're not going to agree on everything, but in my opinion, what I say is probably right. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Yes, thank you for being part of it. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's David Conley. I've lived here in Salisbury all my life, and I'm a huge collector. So I'm big into history and observing history. That's probably why I'm here.
Speaking of history, we graduated together, and that was part of history back when Columbus sailed. Anyway.
Well, it was in the late 20th century, back then.
In my opinion, you were wrong with that date. No, just kidding. But, yeah, we're going to be talking about different views, and we're going to be having this segment more often. And, again, like I said, it's in our opinion. This does not mean that this is like solid gold. Everybody feels the same way, but we want to get different views on things. And, Dave, you live in the city of Salisbury?
Yes.
And when I asked you what part, what did you call it?
South Central.
You live in South Central Salisbury. And what kind of an area would you say that would be?
Well, the Van Buren boys, they kind of run the show. Mm-hmm. But as long as you show 8 fingers, then they know you're cool.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. Is it a, would you say that trash pickup and everything happens when it should in that area?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so it's a pretty normal area here in Salisbury.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you know who your council person is there?
No, I do not.
Do you find that being a little alarming?
Well, it's alarming that I've never had a council member ever come to my house and knock on the door and say we're running for council or anything like that. It almost seemed like they just got the job.
Do you vote?
No.
Oh, well, see, that's probably why.
Yeah, it's probably one of the reasons. They probably have records as to who voted last and only go to those places.
And that's the sad part, because whether you vote or not, which you should, in my opinion, you should, but whether you vote or not, you're still part of the area. So, but you do keep an eye on what's going on.
Yes.
Huh? Okay. So let me ask you, how do you feel the job of the mayor's been going the last 2.5 years been in office?
I mean, he's ruffled some feathers. It seems like there's a few people that really don't like him, but I always notice with every mayoral position, there always seems to be a group that doesn't like them. I watched it with Barry Tillman and Jacob Day. There's always two sides to everything when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things you like about what he's done?
It goes several different ways. Like, I mean, I guess the big thing is how he's put his foot down with a couple of the property issues where people are possessing property but then not doing anything with the property, but yet holding on to the property. And it just seems to be like an incredible waste of time and almost like a power grab.
You talking about Blue River?
Well, no. Actually, the one that hit me the hardest was what used to be the Salisbury Flea Market. Mm-hmm. That it's just insane to think how there's a parking lot there that the courthouses can't even use. Nobody can use it, and yet nothing has been done with that for 3 years now. And it's a shame because I'm a grassroots kind of person, and I think the flea market that was there had no issues. And at the same time, I don't know how much money it was really raising off of the lot, but I mean, even if it's making $50 to $100 a day, that's still money going into the city that can help with any problems in the city.
That's true. For me, I think one of the big changes that I've noticed since he's been in office is Carroll Street. It used to be the worst place to drive, in my opinion.
Yeah, all the different bike lanes, which were never used by bicyclists, were. It's one of those things where I don't know who asked for it. Like, who was it who said we need more bike lanes? And It kind of made me feel like Jake Day had gone to a seminar and been told, we're going with a European design and we need to do this, this, and this, and he went and did it without ever asking anybody if this money needs to be spent. It's almost like, in my opinion, almost like he had a friend that was in a job for him where they, stretch out roads and put in lanes, and it made a quick buck for somebody, and now all that money's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we got, well, don't get me wrong, the one roundabout that's right there, the Greg Bassett roundabout, that's been very good.
It's any roundabout is good as long as people understand how yields work, and there's some people, unfortunately, that don't know what a yield is, and they just come to a stop, and then that causes, all the kind of, backup and everything else. But as long as people know how the roundabout works and knows how a yield works, it works fine. And I kind of go back to a time when, speaking like Brew River, a lot of people used to get tickets at that light leaving Brew River, and it was because the light would always change, just as somebody's going through it. And I'm sure there are police waiting for those opportunities, and a lot of times they would get people, with DUI charges.
Yeah. Well, I just remember it just seemed like a mess there back before they had that. And again, when they first put it there, I was a little leery of it because I was one of the people that know how to negotiate it. Now, I have to disagree with you and say that all roundabouts are good, because there's one on South Boulevard by that park. No reason for it to be there. I mean, as a matter of fact, that's a residential area where a bus, it has a hard time getting around it, or if you needed a fire truck. Then you got two of them by the city park that are...
Yeah, the city park ones make no sense, it seems. And that's the thing, too, is when people are using the roundabout, like, for example, to go into the zoo, the oncoming traffic doesn't know what to make of it. It just seems really kind of odd. But, I mean, in a sense, the roundabout does bring people to a slow, which is good. Because I'm sure there's in the past been quite a few accidents that probably have gone under the radar, where a kid gets bumped by a car, and, So, I mean, for those things it helps. But, yeah, there's certain areas, like with the city park, where they have roundabouts, and it makes no sense.
Didn't quite understand that one at all. And, well, I do realize that Mayor Taylor's kind of like, he's also taking down some of the other things, like I guess that may have represented different groups.
Yeah, the LGBT crosswalk was taken up, and I saw quite a few people crying about that, like it was the end of the world. But I think it's always interesting where some groups want to be represented, but they want to be treated the same. And I don't understand how any group wants to be treated respectfully the same as everyone else, but then also let everybody be aware about how different they are. And I just kind of find it like almost humorous how many people cried when the crosswalk was taken up, like it was the end of times, and that, this new dark cloud is coming over, and I don't really see it that way.
Well, and I'm not even sure where that actually, the idea came from. Who did they approach?
I think the whole idea was to let people who aren't from the city know that the city is LGBT friendly. And I mean, I don't think Salisbury's had any huge LGBT like crimes over the years, other than the SU incident. But yeah, I just I don't know. There's just elements of it that I just kind of find dramatic, where people really like are affected by a crosswalk being painted over or broken up. It just seems to be like a very petty thing to worry about when there's so many other things going on. If we're going to talk about morality or anything, why don't we talk about the homeless in the city? I mean, there's a lot of other things going on that are more
important. Which is right there, which actually one of the little villages for the homeless is right there by that crosswalk.
Yeah. It's I think anybody who's ever walked downtown knows under the bridge, and quite a few nights when I was a child, I used to go to the public library, and every now and then I'd take a spell where I just kind of leave my bags behind and do a little walk around town, check out the river walk, and that was always something you would see, is somebody sleeping underneath the bridge. And 9 times out of 10, they're sleeping underneath the bridge from dawn to dusk, because unfortunately at nighttime, that's when they can get hurt. That's when they can get robbed. That's when, I mean, you don't want to be at your sleep when you know for a fact somebody could do something to you. So a lot of them will sleep during the daytime.
And the scary part about that, even under the bridge, and I know that Vice President Councilwoman April Jackson has been fighting to get rails back on the river walk. Because even sleeping up under that bridge, I mean, I don't know about them, but I kind of roll in my sleep.
Yeah. Well, it's a safety feature. Why would you have it taken down?
From what I understand, the previous mayor said that's not how it is in Baltimore.
Day talking. Yeah. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, I think people like Jacob Day should just stick to Purdue and taking care of his inner circle and stay out of ours.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like again, you've got not only the homeless on those river walks, but you've also got there's at least one or two bars that I can think of that are right there on the river.
Yeah, so we're going to have at some point. Well, we've had a couple drownings in that river, haven't we? Where people have fallen into it. But I mean, did they ever figure out if they were drug addicts or DUIs?
You know, I'm not even sure. And here's another unique thing: that riverway is Maryland. So Maryland would pay for it.
Right.
So why wouldn't we? It's not even money coming. Well, it is. We live in Maryland, but more people will be paying for it than just right here.
Well,
so.
Yeah, definitely make Annapolis pay for it.
So now, while we're talking about downtown, and we said something about the mayor, and how do you feel about the council now that it's been kind of revised? Now it's all woman council.
It's interesting that
city council.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's all female. I don't quite understand how every representation is taken into it, being it's all female. It just seems kind of odd that there wouldn't be, I guess, a good male enough candidate to win a seat in the council. But being I don't pay attention to too much of the political struggles that go back and forth.
Right. Well, they had to fill a spot that was vacated by the former president of the city council, Doughty, and the way that they picked the fifth person, it was actually the rest of the council. Now, of course, there was some struggles there, because I can tell you, especially Councilwoman Jackson did not. She actually spoke from sitting at the same table about not wanting to be an all-woman council because of lack of representation, you know? But here we are, and I mean, what do you think about that? How do you think that's going to fare?
I mean, hopefully the ladies in the council can take care of everything and take care of us, but it just I don't know. If the whole entire council were men, people would be having a different opinion. So it's kind of the same thing. You can have two extremes over another, and I mean, I'm sure the ladies of the council are proud that they've broke that record and they have it, but it still seems a little not representative to the city of Salisbury.
Do you feel like there's special interest groups that are kind of like moving the needle, if you will?
Oh, definitely. I think it's all over. It's all about getting the political points for the for whoever's in power, which is blue right now. But there always seems to be a thing where the line is moved over a little bit and more is taken. So it's the political struggles that go on in the State House in Annapolis as well as here, a lot of it is people in suits that don't walk amongst us, would barely ever even walk amongst the people.
Speaking of Annapolis, do you think it plays a significant role in what happens in local politics?
I think it does, because, I mean, anytime you have anybody in the State House, one particular occasion I remember was I had worked as a lobbyist. This was, I think, back maybe in 2003 or 2004. I think this gentleman's name was Richard Maldonado, the west side of Maryland. There was a law being passed, or there was a law that was getting ready to go into the pass of the House in Annapolis, where the law stated that you could not go into the ER when a person is being brought into the ER unless you're a blood relative or married to them. And most people would look at it and be like, well, yeah, that's perfectly fine. But for the LGBT community, it wasn't, because back 20-some years ago, there wasn't any marriage.
Right.
So imagine bringing your loved one to the ER, and the ER tells you, well, you got to leave. Your ID doesn't check out. You're not married. So it was almost like it was a law, not for liability, but just for hate, like just a way to make things uncomfortable for one other group. And the thing that got me was, we're in a college town. I mean, think about the horror of you're away from home 2-3 hours, maybe even 5 states away.
Right.
And you're in the ER, and whoever is your roommate, your dorm mate, your lover, they can't say anything. They can't be in the room with you. The law that they were trying to kick in was just evil. It was just there was no liability involved in any of this. It was just a way to hurt one demographic. And we had built up a group of lobbyists from SU, and we took a bus to Annapolis, and we couldn't get to talk to too many of the council representatives, but I did get to talk to a few of them and explain our case, and the bill never did get passed. It got shut down. So it was a nice little victory, and we felt it was a victory for the gay, lesbian, trans community, because it was a victory. I mean, no doubt. And it probably helped movements, go forward. So I think a lot of the things that Annapolis does, I mean, sometimes, to fight City Hall, you got to go to City Hall. So, when people here are going to Maryland to try to get a law change that's going to affect all of us, we have to go to Maryland, to Annapolis and take care of the business.
Yeah, because I do know there was council people, thank you, and I know the county executive spent some time up there. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about the county side. Here recently, they took prayer away from the council. And, of course, I'm a praying man, so, I mean, I really think, actually, what they were doing, truthfully, was the blueprint is the way to pray, according to the Bible, but for them, it was prayer, but at least it was a step in the right direction. I personally think that they've opened up a can of something they didn't want to open up. That's my thought, but what do you think?
I mean, there is the idea of separation of church and state, but there's also, our own, idea that we have the right to do whatever, amongst ourselves. And it's just kind of odd that if you want to, before the meeting starts, just lower your head. Oh, you can't do that. You have to go out in the lobby and do that. And it just seems kind of unusual that, it doesn't have to necessarily be Christian prayer. I mean, if someone is Muslim and they want to say a prayer before a meeting, I'm not against a Muslim doing that. I'm not against anybody doing that. Prayer is just prayer. And it shows a lot about the other people who want to chase it away. It shows everything about them and what they stand for, because, I mean, you're either on the side of good or you're not. We want to always have arguments about morality, and that always comes into play. But, I mean, whoever is saying, we got to chase prayer out of the meetings is just, I mean, you could just have a period where you say, everybody, if you want to, lower your heads and pray, to whoever your God is. But just to all out say we're not allowing it anymore is just evil. Kind of like an analogy with the whole incident with me lobbying in Annapolis.
Sure.
Sometimes people make laws or take away laws just to be evil.
And, the thing was, thank you, it was said from what at least I saw the press release, they were saying that the council was concerned with facing a lawsuit with having prayer there. Now, here's my thing, a couple things here. One, it had been part of the council meetings for forever and a day.
Yeah.
So if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? My second thing would be that this didn't stop them from still fighting when the executive saying, hey, you can't stop me from doing this, but they let that lawsuit go forward without saying,
Yeah, so. It's interesting how they want to protect themselves from lawsuits, but you had that situation, what was it, with the Wycomico County Council, where they weren't allowing anybody to make opinions anymore. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but everybody does have the right to come up to the podium and say what they want to say.
Yeah.
No words of assault, obviously, but
you're not supposed to say anything that's going to be injurious. Right. The situation you're talking about was something said about the person's not even on council anymore.
Yeah.
So, but it's supposed to be freedom of speech.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is when I see freedom of speech being censored, it's like, then somebody's going to sue the city, and all the taxpayers are going to have to pay for that. So, it's always an issue of trying to make people have responsibility for the positions that they're in, and sometimes people screw up and do something wrong, and we don't need lawsuits coming down onto the city and to the taxpayers.
Or in the county. Right.
And I mean, it goes with, immunities. You hear about police immunities. You hear about political political immunities, and we need to chase that kind of stuff away. And of course, the people who make those laws are the people that want to have themselves immune to it. So it's always the people that are making laws to protect themselves, but not protect everybody else that the taxpayers are paying for that service to be done.
And thank you. And one thing I have seen is when it comes to things like prayer or freedom of speech, when people vote people in, they don't see that with them. They said, "Oh, I'm standing up for you. I'm there for you." But when you want to speak, they want to silence it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As far as prayer, why would you, as far as the county council, because the city council does do prayer. They still do have people coming for prayer. But for the county council, for you to take the opinion of 7 or 6 people over 107,000 in the county.
Yeah, your constituents don't represent everybody, and that's one of the things I think I talked about with you over the phone is the echo chamber effect of how people only listen to the opinions by the people that are around them, but you're in an echo chamber where all you're getting is the same opinions going back and forth.
Sure.
What a representative needs to do is be out with everyone and hear different sides and different opinions, because sometimes things don't occur. Like, people just don't occur.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you this. In closing here, the relationship with the county council and the county executive has been kind of rocky. It's been rocky, not even just with this session. I'm talking about since there's been an executive. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the executive, Giordano?
I mean, she seems to be attacked for being conservative, and I've never really seen it before in my lifetime where a person's being pushed out for trying to follow law and trying to have a moral route to things. So it's just we're living in very interesting times. The 250th birthday of our country is coming up, and I'm curious to see what's going to be happening around July.
Yeah, but
see if we're really a country anymore, if we're just divided.
Scary thing is that when you and I went to school, we learned the Constitution. We had it was part of us getting a grade. But nowadays they can't even read cursive because they don't even write in cursive.
Yeah, the school system has failed, and I mean it's two responsibilities, because obviously there's a lot of single parent homes, and there's a lot of mental illness issues in homes, but the school has to take some responsibility for students not passing, and what do they do it like they're passing kids with D grades, and there's no attention being given to these kids that are like slipping. I think when we went to school, you may have had, like, out of a classroom of 30, maybe 3 kids that don't get it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's safe to say.
But also something else is when we were in school. When it came to the pledge, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. When it came to the pledge, we had maybe one person, I'm not going to say his last name, but his name was Jason. And he did not stand for the pledge because of his beliefs.
Okay.
But they didn't make a big stink about it.
Right.
Yeah. It was one person, but he was very respectful.
Right.
Nowadays, it's like...
Well, there's the victim mentality now. Like, now a lot of people want to use victimhood as a way to bargain and get things, and I constantly see it, and it's a shame, because the only people who should be bargaining to get things are people in power. Yeah. It just amazes me when somebody basically cries wolf, and it's a shame.
Okay. Well, this has been our first segment of In My Opinion, and in my opinion, it's been a good one. What do you think, Dave?
In my opinion, it's been pretty good.
And I'm just going to, again, say that when we have these settings and talk as far as within my opinion, these are our opinion, okay? These are not something that you said, but they said that this is how it is. No, this is how we feel about it, okay? We have 2 different political views, but we both have the same common goal and want to see things work and want to see those that we've had some kind of an impact on over the years be successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to always be putting people up. You don't ever want to put people down.
Exactly. And you want to give a hand up, not a hand out. Just saying. Just my thought, in my opinion.
And
Dave, you got anything else you'd like to
I
add?
don't know. I'm just curious if there will be a drinking game for in my opinion every time somebody says in my opinion, just rack them up.
In my opinion, we're going to have to say in my opinion a lot of times for that to happen.
In my opinion, I think anybody who watches this show then should not go out and drive.
This has been another segment of Bridging the Gap. Thank you for joining us. We'll be talking to you soon.